it's Claina and welcome to the next instalment in the light art range. Now the first instalment in the light art range was Serenity, the angel. Now the angel was a wall mounted sculpture, but when the light was turned on it developed wings. So the light actually completed the design. Now this instalment is the diamond heart. Now the diamond heart is a wonderful sculpture for you to display, but when you turn the lights on, this is what happens. So the rays actually come out from all angles and it becomes this really large wall piece. On this particular one, the light is carefully designed to do different things on different projects. So on the first one, it was actually developed to create wings in a wing shape. So it was specific, it was targeted. On this one, I just wanted it to be a mass, the whole ray across your wall, which is what it does. Okay, so if you have a look inside, as usual, my 3D projects, you've got your die cut list. Because packaging doesn't last forever, that will be added to the group. So you can look at a copy or download it and keep it. That's up to you. But all of the die cut lists are actually in the group if you want to go and get a copy of each. You will notice here when we talk about the companion products, it says here the LED strip is 1 meter. Now that's different to Serenity. So with Serenity it was a ½ meter. This one is a full meter because it goes all the way around the outside, which is a larger area. So that's the one that you want. I'm sure there will be bundles put together where you get the two together, but if you want any extras, you are looking for the meter ones. But it should be nice and clear on the website. I've linked the compatible items. So, and you have more dies on the back here. Now these are the areas where the light actually emits or gets cast onto your wall. These are removable. So if you just want a heart wall sculpture, you can have that. And I've also got a way that you can change the color of your light. And I'm going to show that at the end, towards the end of the assembly as well, because I'll be doing that with today's. Okay, so let's take a look at the pieces. Okay, here are all of our pieces. So I've just followed the die cut list and I've cut on my pieces. Now for the I'll show you here in a moment. The project for the packaging, I used some satin card for my front layers, but for this one I thought I would try some mirror card for my layers. But what I've done is, actually I'll show you on a larger piece, is I've taken an embossing folder with roses on it and I've embossed it. So this is, I just love projects that have panels that allow you to bust out your pattern papers that you've been hoarding, because when we have pattern papers for card making, very often we feel like it's getting covered up with toppers and sentiments and whatever. So sometimes we save our pattern paper for those special projects. Now if you've got the Reminiscence paper pack from Claina Palmer Designs, this would be a fab project to use that on. But equally, how many embossing folders have we all got? So let's get them out. You might want to be using stencils, you know, maybe some paste through it, but this is a great kind of platform to just have some fun, because you're going to be showcasing whatever you do on this front panel. Okay, so I've done my panels like that. Now there's just a couple of bits of prep here to note, and that is it's very minimal. So you need 4 of these. What I would say is you don't want to go too heavy with your cardstock on this one. This is a lighter weight 300. It feels more like a 250, which I would say is the perfect weight for this project. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these pieces on the back that have got the tabs on both ends, I'm going to take 1 tab off the right on one piece and 1 tab off the left on another piece. And if I remember correctly, I think that's the only tabs that you need to remove. What I've also done is I've cut 2 of my wall hanging pieces. So I'm going to glue those together. So I've got these to glue together, and then I've got my panels to a deer in place. And then we've got all of our score lines to fold. What I've been doing is when I fold, sometimes when you've got designs that are very near a fold line, so just here, there's a fold line just underneath where those triangles are. What I very often do is use a straight edge. And even though that one I want to fold backwards, I'm actually going to fold it towards myself where I can see it, first of all, to break the fibres. So I'm just using the ruler, I'm just pushing against it with my hand, just to break the fibres. I'm pulling it towards me, because the die actually puts the score line in the front. And now it's much easier to turn them backwards with my ruler. It's just one of those little things that I've found over the years. If you try and go backwards, first of all, without breaking the fibres, it might bend where the triangles are. Over here it's okay because I haven't got any other detail. But it's a lot easier. If you haven't got a little ruler, even like a credit card, something like that to fold against is really helpful. But I find when you're dealing with thicker cardstocks as well, that it's easier on your hands. Okay, so those are folded. On this one, this is the front large piece. I'm going to do the same here, so I just hold my ruler up against the line, fold it towards myself, and then it's easier to fold away. Okay, so I'm going to carry on and fold along all of my score lines, and I've got my pattern paper pieces to attach. Well, they're not pattern paper, my embossed mirror pieces to attach. So I shall go ahead and get all of that done. Okay, so that's all my prep done. My hanging pieces glued together, all of my layers are on, and all of the score lines that need folding are folded. Now it's worth mentioning actually that these pieces, although these have score lines on, these aren't to be folded. This is the layer for the back, and these are just placement pieces. So these don't need those little lines there. So that's just where the pieces overlap for when you glue them together, and on the end here. So you don't need to fold those. So apart from that, that's all the prep you need. There's not a lot to this one. It's quite a nice, easy project. Okay, for my assembly, I'm going to start with this piece, and I'm going to start at the center. So you have these 6 pieces that form the kind of bumps on the heart, like that, and this is the piece in the middle. So I'm going to start with this piece and then work outwards from there. Once that piece has taken hold, I'll then start with my little triangular pieces and work my way around. Next are these triangular pieces, 3 on each side. So I'll just connect those in. Right, on this one, so I've got the tab here and the side connecting there. I'm going to bend that one down out of the way as much as I can, so I can get it right where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to leave these ends until I've put the other side on as well. So I'll just start adding, so I'll start from the middle again and work my way out. Okay, so now I'm going to add my side panels. The right hand one has the tab at the top. And the left hand side, looking at it, the left hand side one has the tab at the bottom. Now it's important when you die cut your pieces that you have your triangles going the right way. If you follow the die cut list, you'll get it right. But when all the pieces are together, the triangles are facing inwards. There we are. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll mention where the lights are going to go before I do these up. Because when I do these up, it creates shadows. So if you see where the crease is here, where the pieces are joined together, see that crease there? That's the fold line, basically. Our lights are going to go between that fold line and the top of the triangle. So they're going to go in there. But because these pieces are kind of splayed out until we do them up, we can't put them in just now, so we'll close them up and then we'll add it in. The light is self-adhesive, so it's easy to pop in there, but there'll be lots of shadows there when I go to put it in, so it's easier for me to show you now. So yeah, you've got room there, so that's why the triangle was at the bottom here by the tab, because we need that bit of room there for the lights to go just above our triangles. Okay, remember how I said that I was going to try and change the colour of my light rays? Okay, so what I'm doing is I've put in some tape around the outside of my little triangular windows. And this is before we close it up. And I'm putting strips of acetate. Now this is the rose red acetate that's in the shop. But I've actually got a pillar box red as well. And what I've done is I've cut them into 2cm strips. And I'm just adding them behind my little windows. So I did actually find that the rose red was a better tone to go with my cardstock. But the rose red isn't as vibrant as the pillar red. So what I'm going to be doing is putting 2 layers to make the colour a bit stronger, because the rose red is kind of, I would say it's got like a pinky hue to it. If I get another one out here, so if you see one on its own, it's definitely got that pinky hue, but when you double it up, see, that's a bit stronger, so that should give me a little bit of colour to my light rays. Now we want to add these before we close it up, because obviously it's easier to access, but we want to also do it before we add our lights, because the lights might actually overlap the acetate area or where you put in your tape. Now when you add your strips, you don't want to go too far. We don't want to go across the fold line, because that might prevent the tab from coming up. Okay, so I'll start in one area and I'll work my way round, connecting all the side panels together. I am going to add a little bit of glue as I go. So we've got the best of both worlds. We've got fast grab as well, which is always a benefit, but because we've got acetate on the inside here, it would take an awful long time for glue to dry. If we'll be using it on its own. So I'm not covering the tape up, I'm just adding a couple of dots on the tape. Where there's any exposed cardstock, I'm putting glue there as well. Now with this join in the middle of the heart at the top, this one's actually a valley fold, so I need to fold that one backwards. So it'll still come together in the same way, but it's actually a valley fold. A valley fold is a fold towards you. A mountain fold is always away. Okay, before we put our backing pieces on and our wall hanger, we're going to put our lights in. Now your lights will come in one of two ways. They will either come, oh, if I can open the bag. They will either come with the batteries already fitted, or they will come with the batteries separate like this. If the batteries, now this just pops open. If the batteries are already inside, they'll have a little acetate tab that you just pull out. So it'll be closed up with the batteries inside. You just pull your little tab out. Okay. Okay, when you put your batteries in, when you open it up, you'll see there's two little circles in there. One's got a plus and one's got a minus. And if you have a look on your battery, if you have to put them in yourself, you'll see that there's a plus on the flat side. So I think that means that goes down. And then, yeah. And then it's just snap shut. Okay, so let's turn that off. Right, the first thing we're going to want to do is put some tape on the back of our little battery box. Now you'll want to add plenty here because you want it to stay in place when you're switching it on and off. But we're going to actually adhere it inside our heart. Right, now when we put the lights in, we're not going to start from the other end because we need to trim off that end. Now I know that sounds scary, but there's nothing scary about this. So what we need to do is we need to access the end of the tape, this end. This blue tape is the backing. Now it will be caught inside that black little liner there, and that's the way it should be. But what I need to do is I just need to get underneath that. You can use a pokey tool. Oh, I got one here. Yep, you can use a pokey tool if you're worried about using scissors or anything. Now you just need to get underneath that liner. There. Okay, I'll just loosen that up a bit. You need to get underneath that liner. And then we just need to snip that off right beside that black like little sleeve that they put on there. Okay, and then we're going to start attaching it to the inside of our project from this end. This little black sleeve they've got on there, that's our kind of starting point. So what I recommend is starting at one of the sides, here or here. I would actually recommend here, just at the top of your straight edge. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you want it to go right above where your triangles are. So all you're doing is you're peeling off a little bit of tape as you go, you know, the liner, and just popping it into place right above our little triangles. So the lights are facing inwards. Okay, I'm going to go right down into that corner. And then keep going. Don't pull off too much of the backing at a time, because I'll get myself in a mess. That's better. Just pull the liner up a little. Oh, sorry, I'm going off camera. Okay, so to pull the liner off a little bit at a time, and then just run it underneath your triangles, just pressing it into place, and go all the way round. Every time you come up into a corner, just press it right into that corner and then carry on round. When you come back round to where you started, what you want to do is take your scissors and you want to snip along. There's black lines each side of each light. And the black line goes across 2 little copper sections. So you just snip it there. So I will hold it up to show you. Okay, can you see there? So in between the 2 lights, there's a black line. It's a black line there, and it's got like these 2 little copper pads. That's where you snip it. It's just across that black line. Okay, so you don't need the rest of that, so you can just discard it. Okay, now I will take off the liner on the tape on the back of my battery box. Okay, so I just want my light to be over about here, I think. Just press it into place. Now if you can tape down your, I think I will add a little bit of tape. Because I'm not sure, I think it'll be okay, but I'm not sure if the little wires there will pop up. So I just put a little bit of tape just to hold them in place. Okay, that's as easy as it is. So you're literally just taking the liner off the adhesive and just running it around the outside edge. And then should we just have a little test? There it is. So all the lights are where you want them to be. Okay, now we can go ahead. So we'll fold all our tabs over and we can pop our edge on. Now if you find when you're, if you've added acetate like I have, if you find that the acetate is getting in the way of your fold, just fold your cardstock back and then just trim it with some scissors. You know, if it's kind of fouling, snagging the fold in your tab. I've bent over all my tabs, ready to put my back layer on. Okay, so the bits down here go on last, as do the 2 pieces up here. So remember we have the pieces with the double tabs, the tabs both sides. Those are the 2 pieces that go on first. And then the next is the 2 pieces where we cut the tabs off earlier on. So that's the second layer, and then the other bits go on last. Okay, so rather than glue this, because it's wider, you want to glue your tabs. So these with the 2 tabs, they go, so it's the first section past the long section. So this section here. Okay, I'm going to add my one onto the other side. So the exact same pieces opposite. Okay, the next layer are the ones where we cut the tabs off one end. So the reason we don't need the other tab is because we've got one on this one, so it just overlaps there. So I'll pop that on, but again I am adding glue to my tab and not my piece that's going on. Okay, back over to the other side. I'm adding the other piece where we cut the tab off. Okay, now my top two pieces can go on. So the first one I'm going to put on is the one with the M on the tab, because that goes in the middle, just there. Okay, and then we've got this piece that doesn't have any tabs because it sits over the two tabs next to it. Okay, so that's all the top ones done. Now with the bottom, one of them has got a score line at the bottom here. That's the one you want to put on first. So that goes just like that. Again, we're not adding glue to this piece, we're adding it to the tab. And this is the last piece to go on, around the edge anyway. So it doesn't have any tabs because the tabs are on the pieces next door. If you're finding when you're putting this back layer on that your hands are getting a bit gluey, and so you're leaving a few marks on your cardstock, then there's two different solutions. So you can add some red liner tape on the tabs and then just add some glue along with it. So that will give you the fast grab but the glue for longevity. Or once it's in place, it's so much easier to add another layer on top. So you can have two of each of these pieces, but when you put the second lot on, you won't need any of the tabs, so you can cut all of the tabs off and then just lay them over the top to neaten it off. Okay, now the last piece to go in is your wall hanger. Now if you have a look on your wall hanger, there is a score line on it, but it's not, yeah, it's a scored line, but it's not a fold line. That just gives you your placement for where to add your glue or your tape, whatever you're doing. So just add it above that line, and then when you pop it into place, it will fit, because it will actually hit the top of the heart, but it will actually fit exactly where that score line is. So you won't have any messiness there because you've got your placement for where to add your glue. There, and it's as simple as that. Okay, so that's our finished project. Now I cut mine in red, and the one for the packaging as well. I also cut in red because I'm looking kind of forward towards Valentine's Day. So that's why I cut these in red. But you could cut them any colour you want. I am doing a pale pink one, and it's completely matte. Even the panels are the matte pale pink, but I'm embossing them as well, and I think it's just it's looking lovely. So I'm really excited to do that one. That is the Diamond Heart. It's the new installment from the Light Art range. There are still some more designs to come, so keep an eye out for those. And each one, like I said originally, because the first one was an angel, now we've got the heart, so they're completely different, each one. I hope you really enjoy them, and do share your versions. I'd love to see what you make with yours. So share it in the group, you know, because we all inspire each other. So it's really great to see what you're making, and of course go in there and have a look to see what the inspiration team will be making with theirs as well. I shall be back with the next installment of the Light Art range very soon. Bye.